Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I know this is going to be a little different because today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading a book. It's called Swindle. It's about these kids who kind of have to break into a place, I think. I've not read it yet, and to retrieve a baseball card. You have been chosen for your special skills to do something urgently that needs to be done. Come to the ballroom at 3:30. Don't miss it. It'll be worth your while. 2 weeks earlier. Sneaking out at night. Helpful hints. Chapter 1. What's lying to your parents? Maintain eye contact. Or when lying, sorry. Make sure to ask permission and to attend the correct fake sleepover. Meet at the old Rockford house at 8:30 p.m. Friday. You can't miss it. And there's the crane with the giant wrecking ball parked in front. Enter through the missing planks in the boarded up window. First floor, east side. If I mess anything up, I hope it's okay. Bring sleeping bag. Remember, the old Rockford house is commended building, I think. That will be demolished tomorrow morning. There will be no beds, no running water, no furniture, no lights, no TV. When a plan came from the Bing, even the tiniest detail had to be perfect. He organized over every fine point and possibility, all except one. What if nobody showed up? We probably shouldn't have to put the part no TV. On their sleeping bags, what had once been elegant living room, they were surrounded by dead, rotting wood and mounds of dust all around them. The old house creaked and groaned. Hollow, eerie noises outside. A thunderstorm raged. Griffin trained the beam of his flashlight on his wrist. 10:34 p.m. I cannot believe it, he said. How could we get nobody? 28 people said they were coming. Maybe they're just late, Ben offered lamely. 9 o'clock is late. 10:30 is a no-show. Don't they have any self-respect? This is like saying it's totally fine for the adults in town to walk over us. Ben would have dearly loved to be no-show. Number 29. Only loyalty to his best friend had brought him here tonight. Sorry if I'm not doing the best on this, guys. I'm trying my best here. Come on, Griffin, he responded. What difference does it make if 2 people or 200 people spend the last night in a rundown building? How does that show the adults were standing up for our rights and they never going to know about it? Well, no, Griffin said, out his jaw. Something you have to prove to yourself. You're making more than just a slab of meat under a shrink wrap in your groceries. Freezer. Why do you think I came up with a fake sleepover idea? I wanted to make sure everybody had an excuse to be here. That was the whole point behind the plan. The plan. Ben groaned inwardly. It was the best thing about Griffin, and also the worst. Griffin Bing was the man with the plan. Maybe the other kids wanted to come, but they were scared, Ben suggested. Of course, Griffin challenged. Dust, the rain, a whole night with no TV. The house is supposed to be haunted, Ben insists. You know the rumors. What rumors? Griffin scoffed. How do you think it got abandoned in the first place? Old man Rockford was in jail. That's what Doreen said. When the last time Doreen said anything, it was worth the air took out and blow his big fat head. Griffin exploded. He also says in the distant relate to Rockford with no proof whatsoever. Besides, they didn't even have, they did have jails back then. In old man Rockford's time. They had railroads, though. Ben noted accordingly to Marcus the real was railway pounded. Griffin wasn't buying it. He was just pulling your chain. And you know how he loves messing around with people. But Pitch does, and you know what she heard? The house is haunted by a spirit of a dog an old man brought home from Europe after World War I. Or maybe it wasn't a dog. Griffin rolled his eyes. Then what is it? A Komodo dragon? Ben suggested. Nobody knows. But just in a few days after I got the town disappeared, the pets started disappearing. And after a while, just little kittens and puppies, but pretty soon full-grown St. Bernards were vanishing into thin air. And there were no, only Rockford wasn't feeding his dog. A flash of lightning cast a strange shadow through the boarded-up windows. Ben paused to look at the story saying, the townspeople, the law into their own hands. They put rat poison inside of a big steak on the left of the doorstep. Never occurred to them that an evil spirit could live inside a dog. It could live inside something else too, like a house. He peered around the shadows and walls, expecting to see something supernatural and hideous come through. Oh, come on, Griffin refused to be shaken. There is no such thing as a haunted house. Well, Marcus heard some stories, Ben said with a sniff. No, he didn't, Griffin reminded him. He heard the one about the railway spike. He never heard both, and so did Savannah. Only in her version, it wasn't a dog, it was a baby. Why would the townspeople do something like that? They didn't. It got carried off by a chicken hawk. But the baby's ghost house taken all these years never got to live, and the school teacher, the non-Rockford, ever lived here. No one saw her again after those days she moved in, or maybe they did. People were talking about an old woman peering out the attic window. But the only thing is, the school teacher was only 23. A gust of wind blew through the eaves. An unruly moaning sound echoed around them. Ben heard turtle-like noises into his collar. Even though Griffin paid a little. No offense, Ben, but shut up. You're starting to creep me out. Griffin planned the crumble walls with no flashlight. It's almost 11. Nobody's coming. Gutless wonders. It's a railway spike, and Ben, nervously, that I have a horrible headache. Griffin spread out his bedroll, lay back, standing with his flashlight on the base like a miniature floor lamp. Let's try and get some sleep. The sooner the sun rises, the sooner we can get out of this rat trap. Maybe we can leave now, Ben suggested. Hopefully, since nobody else came up, they'll never know we were here all night. Griffin was horrified. You made me back down those 2 words, not in his vocabulary. I don't want my years stowed away by some ghosts or something. There's no such thing, Griffin explained. You guys believe in ghosts? I used to be afraid of them. Ben challenged. All right, fine. It's okay to be afraid of it. All right, fine. I'll sleep. He rolled over onto his side, pulling his knees up to his chest. But if I wake up and 85 years old, you owe me $20. Deal. They lay there in silence, what seemed like a long time, listening to the machine gum rhythm, the rain on an ancient slate roof. Griffin stared up, gasping at the giant hole in the ceiling, and only had one thing. I hope you know how much I appreciate this. You're the only kid who has guts to see this through. His friend said nothing, so Griffin went on. I mean it, man. The others, they talk a good game, but where are they? The sixth grade to come. He even made fun of us. So why'd he wimp out? But who's the real wimp, huh? Ben? Ben was replying slowly, starting to breathe almost like snoring. Ben. Griffin sat up and peered at his friend. Ben was curled up into a ball in his bedroll, fast asleep. Griffin let a low whistle out, admiring the creepy house, the creepy night, and Ben was relaxed enough to doze off. He came as a big chicken sometimes, but he really had to keep too cool for school. It was harder for Griffin to settle down, not because he was scared at all. Not at all. Griffin stayed up because he was, there's only one reason: Ben camping out with dust bunnies in the center of a supernatural expectation. He was thinking about the last plan. As soon as the town announced a meeting to decide what would be done with the Rockford land, Griffin had spoken those 5 fateful words. Let's work out a plan. Proposal for development of Rockford site. The plan approved by the kids shows the land. Old Rockford's house can be turned into a skate or roller park. According to the diagram of below scale, 1 inch equals 12 feet. With the help of Ben and a few classmates, Martin and their teacher, Griffin pulled together a form presentation to make it look like a town council on a big night. The council meetings had refused to hear their proposal, even though they already decided on their own project of a civil museum or something like that. It still ranked Griffin not losing. Sure, they had to be in disappointment, but not to be ignored completely, brushed off like a mosquito just because they were young, was unbearable. That was why he was here now, in this ancient dying house. That was why everybody should have been here. Every kid who has sick of courting for nothing in this town. It wasn't going to get a skate park built. At least it would win them some pride. Anyways, spooky, uncomfortable, and boring as this was for Griffin, it had to be better than lying in a bed listening to his mom and dad arguing about money. He guarded Ben slumbering for him. Or what? They, as he might, Griffin was too keened up to falling asleep. Last began wander to an empty husk of the Rockford house, his flashlight guiding him down the hallways through the rooms. At least the thunder had passed, the storm setting steadily on the rain, the dark and stormy night. As the creature landed in Griffin's hair, full of terror, Rockford and him, he dropped his flashlight from his hands and the room plunged into a sudden darkness. He slapped desperately on his head at the attacker, beaded scalp wings, burrowing into Griffin's thick curls, squealing and screaming. In his frenzy, Griffin tripped over his own flashlight and went down, wrapping himself in cobwebs, and rolled widely onto the floor, touching short fur and rubbery skin. This was sharpened claws and a slippery, and grasping his fingers was unexpectedly. He has begun. The creature managed to disenlodge himself and flew off Griffin. He retrieved his flashlight just to see a large black bat fluttering up the open stairwell. "You're okay," he told himself, his heartbeat thudding. Maximum gross minimum danger. He frowned, and there illuminated was a cone-shaped beam with a piece of furniture. Most of the house had been emptied or demolished. Yet he had seen an old-fashioned desk. He scrambled to his feet and over to investigate. Antiques, roadshow quality. It was beaten up and cracked, and the roll top was stuck in an odd angle, and the flashlights Griffin played with the many drawers and compartments. There was nothing interesting, just dust and the occasional dead spider. One of the tiny drawers wouldn't budge. Griffin pulled on the knob and it came off in his hands. Tired to pry his fingers back to the face of the drawer, zero movement. He perched to the edge of the deck to catch his breath. The seat of his jeans pressed against the small button. Snapped. The locked drawer popped open. A release switch must have been some kind of hiding place, engaged in some light inside a near row compartment. Empty. Bye, Jojo. No, wait. At the very back of the drawer, a flash of color caught his eye. He reached into the drawer and found an old faded card with some picture of a loaf of bread in the center of it, surrounded by a message: "Top Dog Bakery products for the sandwich of champions." He turned over and exclaimed. The other side, it was a colored drawing of a baseball player. Surrounding the bat image was detailed. The image wasn't detailed. The face seemed similar. Griffin read at the bottom: George Herman, Babe Ruth. A baseball card. And it had to be old, too, since Babe Ruth has played a very long time ago, and Griffin was no expert, but he knew some old baseball cards were worth a lot of money. Just what they thought of it to brought a dull ache to his stomach. His family was really struggled to make ends meet these days. He gotten so that bad. Mom and Dad were even selling the house and moving to an affordable neighborhood. No way, Griffin said, loudly, teeth chattering. And it took him 11 years to break in this town, and these friends, and he wasn't about to give up without a fight. And these cards turned to be valuable. Get your head of the game, and he managed himself. What were the odds of someone would have these priceless collectibles to be destroyed inside a old building? Still, it was possible. He could hope. He made a face. Griffin was not hoping a kind of guy. His philosopher was something that you make happen. You still don't sit around wishing for it to come true. Would not let go of him and his family. Financial problems over no more than dark circles under his parents' eyes from staying up half the night trying to squeeze money out of the bank account that had none to give. Even the man with the plan could not be a dreamer, but there's so much more on the line. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we leave off there.